No one had the Pacers in their NBA Finals predictions. Not with the lowest payroll in the league. Not against a young, explosive Thunder team stacked with future All-Stars. But Game 6? That wasn't just a win, it was a Indiana didn't edge past OKC. They humiliated them on their own terms. While analysts talked about star power and depth, the Pacers showed something that doesn't show up on spreadsheets: grit. Tyrese Haliburton, barely mobile with a calf injury, checked in and set the tone. Pascal Siakam was possessed. The bench exploded. The Thunder, they crumbled. Now the NBA Finals are heading to a historic Game 7, and here's what's wild. Every team that forced a Game 7 in the Finals after being down has gone on to win the title. So what changed? Why did Oklahoma City fall apart so quickly? What does this mean for the future of both teams, and why are insiders whispering that Game 7 might not be the end of this story but the beginning of something much bigger? Let's break it all down. Just a few nights ago, the Thunder were being hailed as the NBA's next dynasty in the making. Fresh off a commanding Game 5 win, Oklahoma City looked untouchable. Jalen Williams exploded for 40 points, every shot falling like he had the game on a string. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander added a smooth 31, cutting through Indiana's defense like it didn't exist. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Game 5 was OKC's "we've arrived" moment. Analysts on every network were already moving on, discussing how the Thunder might match up against future contenders, how they were building a team that could dominate the West for years. Meanwhile, Indiana? They looked like they had hit a wall. Haliburton's injury raised doubts about whether he'd even play again in the series. The energy was flat. The narrative was collapsing. Even Pacers fans started mentally preparing for the end. But here's the thing about pressure. It either crushes you or it wakes something up. And in Game 6, the Pacers didn't just respond, they erased everything we thought we knew about this series. From tip-off, Indiana played like a team possessed. They didn't just want to win, they wanted to prove something. That Game 5 wasn't the end. That being overlooked had become fuel. And that the finals weren't going to end without a fight. And by halftime, the Thunder looked stunned. That's when the momentum violently shifted, and it started on the defensive end. This wasn't just a turnaround, it was an onslaught. Midway through the second quarter, the Pacers flipped the switch, and Oklahoma City never recovered. It started with pressure. Relentless, suffocating pressure. Suddenly, every pass the Thunder made looked shaky. Every dribble was contested. Every decision, rushed. And then came the avalanche. A 39 run in just over 8 minutes. Turnovers, fast breaks, deflections, loose balls. It felt like the Pacers had 6 players on the floor. And at the heart of it all, their defense. 21 forced turnovers. Not by accident, by design. Indiana's rotations were crisp, their hands active, and their mindset ruthless. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, normally calm and composed, looked frustrated, out of rhythm. Jalen Williams swarmed. But the moment that truly broke OKC's spirit came just before halftime. Tyrese Haliburton, playing on one good leg, swiped the ball at midcourt, sprinted ahead and tossed a no-look dime that led to an easy dunk. The crowd lost it, the bench exploded, and the Thunder just stared. The lead ballooned to 22. From that point forward, it wasn't about surviving the game, it was about surviving the moment. And the scary part for OKC, Indiana wasn't even done yet. If you watched closely, you could see it in his face. Tyrese Haliburton wasn't healthy, not even close. His right calf was wrapped tight, his minutes were limited, and his movement lacked that signature burst. But none of that mattered. Because sometimes, leadership doesn't look like stats on a box score. Sometimes, it looks like a guy who shouldn't be playing, checking in anyway, just to show his team that the fight isn't over. Haliburton finished with 14 points, 5 assists, and 2 steals in just 23 minutes. Modest numbers, but his impact was seismic. Every time he touched the ball, OKC's defense hesitated. Every time he nailed a 3, the arena roared louder. And every time he limped back on defense, you could see it. His teammates fed off it. This wasn't about production. It was about presence. Because in that moment, with everything on the line, Haliburton sent a message without saying a word. If I can't walk tomorrow, fine. But tonight, we're not going home. That kind of grit can't be coached. It can't be calculated. But it can shift a finals. And as he checked out early in the fourth, the crowd gave him a standing ovation. But the Pacers? They gave him something more. They finished the job. It wasn't just the starters who showed up. Indiana's bench mob came in like they had something personal to prove, and they delivered fireworks. First up, Obi Toppin. He didn't just play well, he exploded. 20 points off the bench, cutting to the rim like a man possessed, stealing momentum with every thunderous dunk. And when OKC tried to sag off him, he drained threes with a grin. Toppin wasn't just a spark, he was gasoline on a fire. Then came Pascal Siakam. Right before tip-off, cameras caught him in the huddle, yelling like he'd just seen red. "I'm possessed right now," he said, eyes wide, sweat dripping. Most thought it was just hype. It wasn't. Siakam played like a man who'd waited his whole life for this shot. 16 points, 13 rebounds. The kind of dirty work that doesn't trend on social media but wins championships. And the whole thing? It started going viral in real time. That huddle moment, millions of views before the third quarter ended. Toppin's coast-to-coast dunk? Instantly clipped. Indiana wasn't just winning. They were dominating the narrative. It was like the energy had shifted from survival mode to something more dangerous. Belief. And the deeper they dug into OKC, the more the Thunder looked rattled. This wasn't the Thunder team we saw in Game 5. Not even close. From the opening minutes, they looked off, sluggish, hesitant, almost like they were waiting for Indiana to cool off. But the Pacers never did. And the longer OKC waited, the worse it got. The stat sheet? Brutal. Just 91 total points. Only 26.7% from three. And maybe most shocking of all, 21 turnovers, with 8 coming from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander alone. Let that sink in. The calmest player on the floor, the MVP candidate who had carried this team through the postseason, suddenly looked overwhelmed, trapped, out of sync. Every time OKC tried to build a run, Indiana answered. Every time they looked to Shai, he hesitated. And with Jalen Williams bottled up by a defense that seemed to anticipate every move, the Thunder's offense stalled completely. It wasn't just bad basketball, it was uncharacteristic. This was the most electric team in the playoffs. They were blowing past older, more experienced rosters. But in Game 6, under the weight of Indiana's energy, it all fell apart. By the time the fourth quarter hit, the body language said it all. Shoulders slumped, heads down, empty stares toward the bench. And for the first time in this magical run, Oklahoma City looked like a team in trouble. Game 7 isn't just another basketball game. It's a moment etched in history. This will be the first NBA Finals Game 7 since 2016, when LeBron James brought Cleveland back from the dead and blocked his way into legend. But for Indiana, this is something even bigger. This is unexplored territory. The Pacers have never been this close to a championship. Reggie Miller came close in 2000, but Shaq and Kobe slammed that door shut. Since then, it's been 2 decades of rebuilds, near misses, and forgotten seasons. But now, one game stands between Indiana and the unthinkable. And here's the crazy part. Every team that has forced a Game 7 in the finals after being down in the series has gone on to win the title. It's not superstition, it's momentum, it's belief, it's pressure shifting. It's the underdog flipping the script and never giving it back. For Oklahoma City, this is legacy-defining too. No one expected this roster, this young, to make it this far. But with all that promise comes expectation and the fear that if they let this slip, it might haunt them for years. The stakes couldn't be higher. Careers will be defined. Narratives will be written in permanent ink. This isn't just Game 7. It's a line in NBA history. While all eyes are locked on Game 7, there's already a different conversation bubbling just beneath the surface, and it's not just about the scoreboard. Let's start with the elephant in the room, Tyrese Haliburton's calf. Yes, he played in Game 6. Yes, he looked sharp. But trainers weren't smiling. Sources close to the team say he's still in pain, still limited. And in a high-stakes, full-speed Game 7, that could change everything. If Haliburton can't go full throttle, Indiana's offense becomes far more predictable. But here's the twist. The way this team played in Game 6, some insiders believe Indiana might be evolving into something bigger than one star. And then there's the Thunder, where the whispers are getting louder. If OKC loses this series after being up 3-2, don't be surprised if roster shakeup rumors start flying. They've got draft picks, trade assets, and a front office known for bold moves. Some are already floating names, players who could be moved to bring in a veteran presence or bolster size and rebounding. Because make no mistake, Game 7 has consequences. Not just for legacy, not just for rings, but for what these teams look like next season. And as fans focus on the game, executives in both cities are already watching something else, the long-term play. The pressure isn't just on the players anymore. And now it all comes down to one game. Game 7, in Oklahoma City. A roaring home crowd. 2 franchises chasing history. One team trying to complete a miracle season. The other fighting to avoid the ultimate collapse. This isn't just basketball. This is a test of identity. Can Indiana, the scrappy underdogs with the lowest payroll and a wounded star, complete one of the greatest turnarounds in finals history? Or will OKC, the youngest and flashiest team in the league, bounce back from humiliation and seize the crown in front of their home fans? The storylines are colliding. The pressure is nuclear. And the truth is, nobody knows how this ends. One twist, One injury, one cold shooting night could change the next 10 years for either franchise. The finals haven't just been extended, they've been rewritten. So get ready, because when the lights go up on Game 7, we're not just watching a championship, we're witnessing a war for legacy. And when the smoke clears, only one team will be left standing.